really thought it'd take me about 6 months to run through all the chiropractic research. And here I am, 15 years later, these amazing chiropractic researchers and manual therapy and chronic pain research, they just keep coming out with more and more. So they're keeping everybody in business.
Hey docs, welcome to another Interviews by the Smart Chiropractor. I'm Dr. Jeff Legmate here with my co-host, Dr. Jason Deitch. Today we have the opportunity to sit down with a fellow podcaster and author, Jeff Williams, Chiropractic Forward Podcast, The Remarkable Truth About Chiropractic book. We're going to explore that and much more. Jeff, thanks for chatting with us today.
Well, thanks for having me. It's an honor.
It is our pleasure. I'd love to talk a little bit about a thread that goes through both of these items. When I say both these items, I mean the book and the podcast. Clearly, you have a passion for what's going on the research side of chiropractic. If we peeled back that onion, where did that start? Where did that come from?
Okay, so I think I was on the forefront of blogging. A lot of chiropractors hadn't quite figured out website SEO and all that good stuff. And a lot of that did lie and still lies in blogging regularly and consistently. So I started that years ago, back probably 2007, 2008. And I was writing about just random things that really wasn't focused. So like one week it might be a back pain. The next week it might be what's the difference between white and wheat bread and what's better for you. It just wasn't very focused, just general info. And then I stumbled on some research that had to do with, I think it was low back pain and chiropractic treatment. And it was pretty high level research. And I just thought, wow, yeah, I hadn't really been exposed to that in my school. I went to Parker, and back then, old man Parker was still alive. It was very, very vitalistic, very just trust what I tell you and just do that, and there wasn't a lot of research involved. And so when I started stumbling on some of that, I was just fascinated because we all know it. All chiropractors feel it. We have this scrutiny and ridicule and people trying to invalidate us all the time. And so when I saw that, I thought, man, that feels good. That's some validation. I've been some satisfaction. I really like that. So I started looking for more of it, and I started blogging about it and I knew that my audience was my city, my population. It's not like I was going global here all of a sudden. So I wanted to really dumb it down. And I hate that word, but you put it in more layman's terms, to where most people don't understand research terms, myself included. I'm not a researcher. I'm a purveyor of research. So something that would make sense to me. So I put it into, here's what it's called. Here's why they did it. Here's how they did it simply. And here's what they found. And here's their conclusion. So it's basically just making it simple, easy to understand. So I started blogging on that. And that's kind of where it all started. I really thought it'd take me about 6 months to run through all the chiropractic research. And here I am, 15 years later. And these amazing chiropractic researchers and manual therapy and chronic pain research, they just keep coming out with more and more. So they're keeping everybody in business.
Hey, Doc, do you have an email list of 300, 500 or more? If so, please connect with our team at thesmartchiropractor.com. With Patient Pilot, we can activate that email list and start generating reactivations into your practice each and every week. To schedule a demo and learn more, head over to thesmartchiropractor.com. Again, that is thesmartchiropractor.com. But right now, we'll head back over into this awesome interview on Interviews by the Smart Chiropractor.
Kudos to you, podcasting, writing books. I read you're also a television segment host about chiropractic. That's all passion. That's phenomenal. That's one of the things we love, and we're happy to talk to you about it. Tell us more about your journey. Obviously, you have a personal passion about the research for yourself. When you're putting it out through your blogs, through television, through your books, and so on, what kind of feedback are you getting? And is it more from chiropractors or from regular, normal people?
Well, it's more chiropractors now because at some point in my blogging journey, my website master, he said, this is really, I know what you're trying to do, but it's still above the head of your population. So you need to write even more layman's terms types, generalized blogs. And so I thought, well, hell, I mean, that's what I do. I write on research. That's what I love, you know? So I did start writing some simpler type generalized blogs for my website and decided at that point, I'm going to take this into a podcast. I'm just going to start using what I would normally do for my regular blog. I'm going to take that, turn those into podcast episodes. And so I don't really push those to my general population anymore. And so most of the feedback I get from that sort of work is more from colleagues, and it's turned into some speaking. I've started teaching courses on chronic pain and the upregulated central nervous system, which is fascinating. I went through the Diplomat of they changed the name, so the Diplomat of the International Academy of Neuromusculoskeletal Medicine, and in that used to be the orthopedics diplomat. And halfway through my coursework, they changed it to the neuromusculoskeletal medicine, which makes a lot of sense because I got into that course. I was like, holy cow, there's a whole lot of neuro in here. And never would I have been described as a neuro type of guy ever. And so it concerned me a little bit, but it was perfect. It was wonderful. And so anyways, I'm getting off topic there, but yeah, it's turned into all kinds of great things. I get feedback here and there. Sometimes I think anybody that puts out podcasts and puts out blogs and content, you're not always real sure how it's being received because most people take it, but they don't always give you a response back. So you're not always real sure.
Yeah, we've definitely experienced that as well. And I'd love to touch on the evolution of the seeds I see with the blogging, you translating that to the podcast over time, and then you take the big step of going all the way to the book. And we all know that Jason and I can also speak from experience. It is not easy. That is like a Herculean task, and feels never ending. What was the process like for you, and what was the desire to want to get a book out? And is it more B2B focused, B2C focused? I'd love to hear your insight onto it.
It's a little bit of everything focus. It's if you're interested in chiropractic, how it works, why it works, that book is for you. And so whatever population that happens to come from. It really, for me, it was just kind of a natural next step. It was really kind of just an easy yes, because I had all of these episodes. I'd already put out all the work and all the content. And so I caught myself looking at going, what was that research that about neck pain, for example? I don't remember what that was. And so I'd have to go back through my episodes, through the search function, find that very specific paper, and then I could use it for whatever I was looking for it for. After a few times of that, I got to thinking, well, what if I need to just categorize this stuff? So let's have a stroke section, and let's have neck pain, neck adjustment section, low back. Let's have SI information, headaches, and all that. And let's organize this stuff so that when I need to reference it, it's easy to find. And then I got to thinking, well, if that's valuable to me, I'll bet it's valuable to others as well. And this could serve a lot of other purposes. So it kind of got my wheels turning about organizing it into a book. And so that's I just basically took the content I had already had compiled, and I just organized it into a nice, neat reference, and turned into about it was like a 400-page book. And I had to go back through and start paring it down, going, okay, this research isn't as good as this research. We don't want case studies and things of that nature. We want randomized controlled trials and above. And let's make it easy to find, again, easy to understand, like we talked about, and some more information about the history of chiropractic and history. I've been very active with the Texas Chiropractic Association, and so some history about our battles with the TMA and the Medical Association and some of that stuff. And we were off and running. But you're right. They don't just write themselves, even though this one kind of sounded like it. It had to be compiled. It had to be self-published, and all that research had to be done. And boy, it is a process.
Hey, it's Dr. Jason. I just want to take a brief moment and invite you to schedule a demo with our team to learn more about our Patient Pilot automated email campaigns. They are the smartest way to reactivate the people you've seen over the years in the past. Check it out, schedule a demo. We look forward to helping you help more people, piloting your patients back into your practice. Now back to our show. It sure is. It's a journey, as your book title, a unique journey into the research.
Right.
I want to follow up, Jeff, by asking, you've done obviously a lot of research about the research.
Mhm.
You are experienced being on television as a sort of, I guess, television host, talking to consumers. If you put those two things together, I guess in a nutshell, how do you summarize or simplify all the research you've kind of analyzed and reviewed, and how do you make that simple for consumers? Is there a simple overall message that the research says this, that consumers can understand, that they'd be more interested in chiropractic care, that would be, I guess, valuable for listeners to know how you take all the complicated studies, research, conflicts, controversies, questions, et cetera, and simplify it so people go, oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome. I should go to a chiropractor.
Man, there are so many answers into that question. There's so many things so many directions you could go. The first thing I would say is that, like I mentioned, we try to really boil it down into basically 4 points. Why they did it, how they did it, what they found, and what's the conclusion, and try to make it super simple to understand, and not just concentrate on chronic pain, not just concentrate on strokes, or neck pain, whatever it might be, but to kind of, move from one thing to another, because you never know who's looking and when they're looking. But as far as real effective research that I think would speak to anybody, whether we like it or not, I love chiropractic, but we don't have the authority that, those in the medical field have, whether we want to admit it or not. It's the truth. And so I think that anytime you can stress to people that a lot of the research we're talking about, it's not done by chiropractors patting each other on the back going, hey, look at what chiropractors do. We do such a good job. It's more, these are, physical therapists, they're governments, they're insurance companies. Sometimes it's hospitals, the NIH. We get to stand on the shoulders of people that do have more respectability, or not that, authority, I think is a better word. So we get to stand on their shoulders. And so when the American College of Physicians comes out in 2016 and says, hey, your first line therapy for low back pain that's acute or chronic should include probably spinal manipulative therapy, exercise, massage, acupuncture, yoga, tai chi, low-level laser, and some of those mindfulness, cognitive behavioral therapy for chronic pain. When they come out and say that stuff, I mean, we get to go, the world's largest medical association just said you need to do this stuff first, and then you move to medication, then you move to more intrusive things like surgery or cortisone injections, things of that nature. So when we get to stand on those shoulders and do that, then I think people lots of times go, oh, I didn't know that. Just like you said, I didn't realize that. So they don't have to take my word, and they can take all the, and if they don't agree with me, I don't have to argue with them either. I said, you don't agree with me? That's fine. Go argue with these people.
I like it. I know you've done a lot of research on the research, as we've touched on. I'd love to hear from you. What's a standout paper? And you don't necessarily have to give us verbatim the title. Those things are super hard to remember. But what's something that stands out to you as either a personal favorite for whatever reason that you'd love other docs out there to know about?
Well, the one I was just talking about is probably my most referenced one, which is Qasim et al., and that's in the Annals of Internal Medicine, but it's from the American College of Physicians in 2016, and it's just phenomenal because it really lays out what we should be doing, and we don't have to argue with anybody else. I love Cassidy et al. His 9-year study on strokes and how folks were having strokes at the same prevalence after following a visit with a family physician versus a visit with a chiropractor. I think there's like 100 and something million patient hours over 9 years. Those are probably two of my favorites, but that American College of Physicians, I think, is the biggest one for us in recent years, because then the Amarillo, I live in Amarillo, the American Family of Physicians backed that up, and the Lancet had a 3-part series on low back pain that came right prior to that. That it all said the same stuff. So pretty powerful stuff.
I could not agree more. There's no question that the plethora of research available is more prevalent than ever. Alliteration there almost. So there's no question that the available research for chiropractors to dive into is so plentiful. Sometimes it's difficult to keep up with. That's why I'm going to recommend everybody listening and watching, head over, subscribe to your podcast, grab a copy of the book. That is going to help distill down this information in a way that's manageable. Otherwise, it is difficult to get started. Jeff, we want to be super respectful of your time, and you have been an awesome guest. We're going to encourage everybody again, please, we're going to drop the links down below. So subscribe, tune in, pick up a copy of the book, and start understanding what's out there, because I agree with you, Jeff. I think there is so much out there that too many chiropractors, forget about consumers, too many chiropractors aren't yet intimately acquainted with. And sometimes it can be challenging to try to siphon through PubMed. That's why having resources like yourself is so valuable to us, our community of chiropractors, and then that impacts the tens of millions beyond. Jeff, thanks so much for coming on and chatting with us today.
Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you so much for watching this video on The Smart Chiropractor. To not miss a single thing that's clinically oriented, marketing oriented, or more, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel today.